Hey everyone watching, this is Ian Detweiler. I'm going to be doing a box opening for Guilds of Ravnica for Myrtle Beach Games. I'm just going to go ahead and slice this open real quick and we'll get started. Alright, so art in the pack is same art on the pre-release kits, which we'll be getting to in another video. And we're just going to get started. I've seen a couple boxes open so far. Most of them have been lucky on the Shocklands, and I've only seen one Assassin's Trophy so far. We'll see what happens here. So first pack. Seen a lot of the good commons and uncommons so far. Well, commons. Prey Upon. Nice reprint. The Locket seemed like a good little pickup for this set. And we start with a Tajik and a Guildgate. Actually, that's on color Guildgate. That's kind of sweet. But Tajik's not bad. I see him probably be better in limited than standard, but we'll see as we go. Anything notable? Hammer Dropper, I think, is going to be pretty good in limited formats too, just because the Mentor ability on a 5/2 is insane. And we got a Midnight Reaper, which is actually, I think, going to be played in standard just because it's extra card draw and he's dealing damage, which I can't remember if we have anything that prevents damage in standard currently, but it's irrelevant that it's not less of life, it is damage. The new Child of the Night artwork, I'm personally a huge fan, and the new Skylight Legionnaire artwork, both very nice reprints to see. Experimental Frenzy. I'm not sure how I feel about this card. The fact you can't play cards from your hand is a little wonky. Maybe if you're playing a Zedruu deck in EDH and pass it off to somebody else, that makes it a little bit more fun, but I don't see that finding a home in anywhere in standard. Alright, fourth pack. So far, not good on value, but liking what I'm seeing so far. Deafening Clarion. I think I like this card just because it's another Anger of the Gods, or it gives your board lifelink. Both are very, very relevant abilities, and honestly, Anger saw play. This is going to see play, especially with the predominance of token themes and them pushing elves and goblins pretty hard in the last couple sets. For those of you who don't know, the mechanics for the guilds are Convoke, which is brought back from original Ravnica. Your creatures can help cast a spell. Reduces the spell by 1 colorless or 1 mana of the creature's color. You've got Surveil, which is, as you see on Explain Disappearance, you look at the top card of your library and may put it into your graveyard for the number of Surveil on the card. Undergrowth it does something different depending on the number of creatures in your graveyard. And then you've got Jumpstart, which is flashback, but you have to discard a card in addition to paying its mana cost to be able to play it from your graveyard. And, Goblin Electromancer reprint, I like that. And the last one is Mentor, which Mentor, as we saw on Tajik, is when it attacks, you put a +1/+1 counter on a creature of lesser power. And that is +1/+1 counter, not like I read it the first time, until end of turn, which is significant. Gonna try and just go through here and see if there's anything relevant. Oh yeah, split cards are back. Some of them are pretty cool. This one's ramp and a Anthem pump effect. Even though it's at sorcery speed, it's going to be useful, at least in draft. And, foiled Severed Strands. That art is really pretty. Find Finality. Recursion or board wipe. Works for me. Going through. There's Sky Knight Legionnaire again. I like the fact they put this ability on a creature that has lure built in. You pump it a couple times and it just turns into a nice board whip. Blood Operative is, I think it's going to be a cool card. I don't know if it's going to find anything, but it's one of those recurable cards that will just be there. It's a 3-drop 3/1, so you never know. And it also exiles target card from our graveyard when it enters the battlefield. With Golgari and Jumpstart both being in this set, it probably will be relevant. I just don't know how relevant. And the draft bomb of the set. Healer's Hawk. 1-drop 1/1 flying lifelink. Things busted with Mentor. Ionize. Counterburn at its finest. 1 blue-red counter target spell deals 2 damage to the spell's controller. Exactly what you wanted to be doing in those colors. More Electromancers. And we've got Response Resurgence. Another one of the rare card cycles. Your standard white ability where you deal damage to a target attacking or blocking creature. And your standard red ability of you get extra combat. This side is insane because it also gives you First Strike and Vigilance. I'm really, really liking Boros for limited in this. I think that they are probably going to do what they did in the Return to Ravnica block and be the aggressive, overwhelming power that they were in Draft and Sealed. So for those of you doing the pre-release this weekend, look out for the Boros decks and pack lots of removal if you're not playing Boros. Pelt Collector. Don't know how I feel about this guy. Okay, yep. He's not bad. He's a 1-drop elf, so that's relevant for a lot of the decks just because... Oh, it's down further. Sorry. Whenever another creature you control enters the battlefield dies, if it's power greater than the collector, it gets a +1/+1 counter, and after it has 3 or more counters on it, it gets trampled. So I like green cards that are big that actually have trample, unlike the buy box promo, which unfortunately a 16/16 but does not have trample. Brought back Convoke though. Okay, there we go. For those of you who haven't seen it, it is a lovely 10-drop with Indestructible and Convoke. 16/16 is nice, but when I can throw a goblin in front of it and have it do nothing, not as nice. Seen a lot of the lockets. True Fire Captain. I like this cycle of cards with the double-double. I think it's better than them doing what they did in RTR Guild Pack. RTR Gatecrash and Dragon's Maze with the hybrid mana, so that way they have a little bit more design space in the future. We've got the Foil Healer's Hawk. Gonna set that right there. And a Venerated Loxodon, which has Convoke. And then for each creature that convoked it, it gives a +1/+1 counter to each one of those creatures. Next pack. Sonic Assault. Taps a creature and deals damage to the controller for its payment. And our Mythic. Alright, Arclight Phoenix. 4-drop Flying Haste. At the beginning of combat, if you've played 3 or more instant or sorcery spells, you get to return it to the battlefield. I really like how they're getting creative with the Phoenix effects. I don't think this one's going to see play outside of May. I actually don't even think it's going to have a slot in Burn. It might be interesting to see with some of the Jumpstart cards, though. And my personal favorite card in the set. I love the fact that they told us they were never printing Storm again, and then we get the 1,000-Year Storm, which essentially gives the Storm mechanic to all of your spells. For those of you who don't know what Storm does, it's for you. Whenever you cast the instant or sorcery with Storm, you copy it for each other spell you've cast during the turn. This one limits to just instant and sorceries, but it's a very, very good card. At least for your Spellslinger decks. Alright. Gonna Going through here. Narcomoeba. Cool reprint. Kind of limited play. It's going to be, I think it's going to be really cool with Surveil just because you're putting it from your graveyard to the library, so it's a free flyer. But outside of that, I don't see it being played outside of constructed, outside of the play. I mean, outside of limited, with the exception of where it's already played in the. I think it's just in 4 Horsemen at this point in Legacy. Going through here real quick. Vivid Revival is our token green recursion card, except it only gets 3 multicolored cards, which is a theme that has been recurrent in the Ravnica blocks, where they certain cards will care about things that are monocolored, and other ones will care about things that are exclusively multicolored. So I'm excited to see a few more cards acting like that again. Oh, We Dragonauts. I didn't know they reprinted that. That's awesome. I love that card. Foil Prey Pawn. Charnel Troll. It's got Trample, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you do, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. Otherwise, you sacrifice it. And you can discard a creature card, to put a +1/+1 counter on Charnel Troll. It is a 3-drop 4/4 with Trample that just keeps getting bigger. This is my sort of card. Big green creature with upside. Going through the packs kind of quick here. Oh, there's our first Shockland. We got a Sacred Foundry. Be on the lookout for those guys. They are going to help your mana bases in Standard and pretty much in every other format. And we've got a Zoni Thousand-Eyed. Makes an insect for Undergrowth, and you can sack another creature to gain a life and draw a card. Interesting mechanic. I think 6-drop's a little steep for him, but it should be cool to see how if and when he gets built around. Let's see here. Actually, almost just missed him. Underrealm Lich, which is actually pretty cool. It's a if you would draw a card, instead you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, put 1 in your hand and the rest in your library. And you can also give it indestructible by paying 4 life, with the downside of tapping it. That's actually kind of cool. And it's got 2 relevant creature types with zombie and elf. Okay, light. Ooh! Alright, sorry about to get distracted, but that is a foil Watery Grave. That is a very pretty art and a very pretty foiling. Shame this isn't my box. And then Light of the Legion, the not foil rare for the pack. Flying, Mentor, when it dies, you put a +1/+1 counter on each white creature you control. Card's kind of nuts. Probably going to win you a draft. For those who are wondering, that is the first foil shock that I have seen since I've seen boxes being opened. Alright, gonna go a little faster through here and just know anything. Ooh, speaking of notable things, the alternate win condition in the set. Can't be blocked, shuffle itself back in when it smacks somebody, you exile a creature when it smacks somebody, and you put a hit counter on it. If you ever have an opponent that has 3 cards exiled by Atrada that have hit counters on them, they lose the game. I see some people trying to build a commander deck around that. I think that kind of gets a little expensive, but it could be very interesting. Sinners, nope. Overgrown Tomb, another shock. Again, the new I really do like the new arts on these. I know that some people are a fan of the classic art more than anything else, but they did a very good job picking out the art on these. I'm personally a biggest fan of the Steam Vents, just because it's, if I remember right, it's floating off the side of something. Bounty of Might. I'm trying to decide if I still like this card or not. It is a 6-drop combat trick. It gives 3 target creatures +3/+3 until end of turn. Which, I don't know, giving your board +9/+9 seems pretty good. We'll see. Going through the pack. There's that lovely Chaldenar artwork again. Sure Assemble. Gives a creature indestructible and makes 3 knights. Oh, elf knights. Relevant creature types, people. Relevant creature types. And a foil goblin locksmith. That might find a home in at least EDH decks with all the Arcades decks that are running around lately, at least in our store. Going through here. Again, that Severed Strands art is just fantastic. And we got a Runaway Steam Can. Whenever you cast a red spell, if it has fewer than 3 +1/+1 counters, put a +1/+1 counter on it. You can remove 3 +1/+1 counters from it to add 3 red mana. Because red needs to go faster. It's either going to hit somebody hard, or keep a Storm Train going, or hit somebody hard, then make the Storm Train go. Versatility is always good in a Magic card. Alright, we got Mission Briefing. Surveil 2. Choose an instant sorcery card in your graveyard. And then you can cast that card for the rest of your turn. If it would be put in your graveyard this turn, exile it instead. So to clarify, when you cast a card, upon resolution, it would normally go to your graveyard. Even if it started there. This card would exile it instead. So it's a double blue Snapcaster Mage. And we got Ritual of Soot. Destroy all... It's one of our good board wipes. Probably going to be played against most of the creature decks. If we see a control deck getting played and it has black in it, you expect to see this, at least in the sideboard. Destroy all creatures with a converted mana cost 3 or less. What do we got here? And another Watery Grave. That is 4 fetches. One of which is foil. Oh, the shocks. Excuse me. It's been a long day. Bounty Agent. I don't know how I feel about this one. It's a 2/2 for 2, so it's a decent bear with vigilance. But it doesn't destroy planeswalkers, and it doesn't destroy lands. So I feel like there's better cards, like Assassin's Trophy. But if you're in white, I guess that's going to have to do. Okay, this card is sweet. Chance for Glory. Creatures you control are indestructible. Take an extra turn after this one. You lose the game at that end step. What you need to note about this card is the fact that it does not say creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. So you will be keeping indestructible afterwards if you have a way to, say, get rid of the delayed trigger off of this stack, like with a Sundial of the Infinite. Winding down to our last 6 packs here. Mausoleum Secrets is the Undergrowth Tutor for specifically black cards. 2-drop instant speed card. Seems good. And we got the Vraska Emblem. So maybe there'll be one in the box. I actually haven't seen one of those yet. Okay, this is one of the ones that I've seen talked about a lot. Divine Visitation, 5-drop enchantment. If one or more creature tokens would be created under your control, that many 4/4 white angel tokens with flying and vigilance are created instead. So I'm going to take that lovely Convoke spell that Selesnya has, and instead of getting the 1/1 soldiers with lifelink, I'm going to make that many Sarah angels. I can see this being played a lot. It is a replacement effect, so cards like Anointed Procession aren't going to affect it again, and it'll just affect the first spell and then replace them all with the Angels instead. I think that's a playset of Electromancers in here so far. Firemind's Research. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a charge counter on Firemind's Research, and then it's got 2 abilities based off of how many charge counters it has. You would remove 2 and pay 1 in a blue to draw a card, or you can remove 5 and deal 5 damage to any target for 1 in a red. Last 3 packs winding down here. Sorry about this taking a little bit longer than I expected. Always go from the front, guys. Don't break your packs. They're better that way. As we get Unmoored Ego, one of the cards that has been notoriously said to kill Tron. There have been dozens of cards said to do that, but this one, you choose a card name for 3 mana, and then search your opponent's graveyard, hand, and library for up to 4 copies of that card, and exile them. Notice it says card name, not non-land card name. Not choosing a card out of their hand and saying that. You just remove 4 copies of a card from their area of play and remove them, and then they draw that. They shuffle the library and then draw a card for each card exiled from their hand that way. All right. Chromatic Lantern, reprint that needed to happen. Fantastic card and fantastic fixing. I can see it's playing in Standard, and I already know that it has a home in EDH. So for your Commander players out there, guys, Chromatic Lantern is a must-have. And last pack. Let's see what we got here. I'm hoping to see a Planeswalker because I haven't yet today. And we got... Oh! Okay, so notable bit on this card. 2-drop 1/1 with Double Strike, Vigilance, and Trample. Now remember, guys, Boros' ability is Mentor, and it's a 1/1, so you can target all of the Mentor abilities onto the same creature and make this guy huge. But fantastic rare. I think not bad for the box. Thank you guys for tuning in, and hope to see you guys in Myrtle Beach games.